The 2025 season has officially come to an end for the Los Angeles Lakers, and it didn't end the way most fans had hoped. After dropping 4 out of 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round, a series many expected them to win, the Lakers were sent home far earlier than planned. Heading into this season, expectations were mixed. Sure, some believed in their talent, but few truly thought they were serious title contenders. The uncertainty largely stemmed from the looming retirement of LeBron James, who, at 40 years old, could step away from the game at any moment, and the ongoing concerns about Anthony Davis's long-term reliability, given his age and injury history. But then, everything changed. In February, the Lakers pulled off one of the biggest moves in recent NBA history. They traded for 25-year-old superstar Luka Doncic. That blockbuster deal completely shifted the franchise's outlook. Suddenly, fans and analysts weren't just talking about the current season, they were talking about the post-LeBron era in Los Angeles. Luka represented hope, youth, and the possibility of sustained success beyond 2025. Now, one of the more ironic moments in this whole saga came shortly before the trade. A video surfaced of LeBron James talking about how the team needed a traditional center. Not long after, the Lakers sent Anthony Davis, their most dominant big man, out the door as part of the Luka trade. From that point on, the Lakers played a lot of centerless basketball, relying on guys like Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, and Jared Vanderbilt to hold down the paint. It was physically demanding and, by the playoffs, that lack of size and interior presence may have finally caught up with them. Still, if given the chance, the Lakers would make that Luka trade 10 times out of 10. They gave up far less than expected, especially considering how valuable Luka is, and somehow they managed to keep Austin Reeves in the process, which is still incredible. This move didn't just change the second half of the Lakers season, it redefined their future. While the Lakers season ended in disappointment, one of the biggest storylines from this year was the emergence and playoff stumble of Austin Reeves. His development throughout the regular season was one of the bright spots in LA, especially after the arrival of Luka Doncic. In fact, Reeves and Luka looked like a promising duo in the half-court. Their chemistry was natural, and for a brief stretch toward the end of the regular season, it looked like Reeves was blossoming into one of the most reliable third options in the entire league. Over the final 15 regular season games, Reeves averaged 23 points per game on an impressive 68% true shooting, numbers that signaled a breakout. But come playoff time, that momentum didn't carry over. Against a disciplined Minnesota defense, his scoring dipped to just 16 points per game on a less efficient 53% true shooting. He became a net negative on both ends of the floor, struggling defensively and failing to find rhythm offensively. It was a stark contrast to his playoff showing in 2023, when he averaged 21 points on a staggering 73% true shooting against the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. This year and last year combined, his playoff averages have dropped to just 16 points on 55% true shooting. And with Reeves entering year 3 of his 4-year, $53 million deal, and becoming extension-eligible next offseason, the Lakers are facing a tough decision. Do they view Reeves as a long-term piece next to Luka Doncic? Or do they consider his trade value while it's still relatively high, knowing he could command double his current salary on his next deal? But it wasn't just Reeves' struggles that doomed the Lakers, it was the total collapse of their front-court depth. After Anthony Davis was traded mid-season, the Lakers never really filled the void he left at the center position. Their playoff rotation revealed that weakness in full. Rudy Gobert, a player often criticized for underperforming in the postseason, completely dominated them in the paint. In Game 5 alone, Gobert posted 27 points, grabbed 24 rebounds, and finished as a +18 in plus-minus. That performance wasn't a fluke, it was the result of LA's failure to field a true interior presence. Jackson Hayes didn't even play in that final game. Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, and even Dorian Finney-Smith were used in makeshift center roles, but none of it worked. The physical toll of trying to go small and play positionless basketball backfired, especially over a grueling playoff series. Social media even took notice, including former Laker Mark Williams, who was briefly traded to LA after the Luka deal but never suited up because of medical issues. He posted subtle jabs online, mocking the Lakers' lack of big man depth after their elimination. And while it's easy to point fingers, a lot of this does fall on coaching and experience. First-year head coach J.J. Redick, for all his promise and strong relationships with the locker room, got out-coached by Minnesota's Chris Finch. His rotations lacked stability, and his inexperience showed when it mattered most. Still, the Lakers believe they found their coach of the future in Redick. He has the trust of Luka and LeBron, and for a franchise that's had instability on the bench for years, that matters. He may have stumbled this postseason, but his foundation with the stars gives the team something to build on. But now, with glaring issues on both ends of the court, especially up front, the front office has to get serious about the kind of roster they want to build. With their season over, the Los Angeles Lakers now face a crucial and complex offseason, one that revolves around a familiar name, LeBron James. Once again, LeBron is entering free agency. At 40 years old, he's still defying time, putting up all-NBA-level performances. This season, he averaged 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, and in the playoffs, he actually increased his production slightly, dropping 25 points, grabbing 9 boards, and dishing out 5.5 assists per game. But here's the issue. He also played 40 minutes per night during that first-round series. And that's not sustainable. If the Lakers want to get the most out of LeBron, assuming he returns for what could be his final NBA season, they can't keep asking him to carry that kind of load. They need help. More specifically, they need depth. This year's bench simply wasn't good enough. The Lakers relied on names like Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes, Max Christie, and Jordan Goodwin, solid rotation players, but not enough firepower to support a championship run. When your 40-year-old star is logging heavy minutes in do-or-die playoff games because your second unit can't hold the fort, something has to change. But here's the catch. The Lakers don't have much financial flexibility. They're currently projected to be about $1.3 million over the luxury tax and sit roughly $6.7 million under the first tax apron. That gives them access to only the $5.7 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception. They're also well below the second apron, meaning they can aggregate salaries in trades, which opens some doors, but it still leaves them with very little room for error. Which brings us back to LeBron. If LeBron takes a full max deal, which could be worth over $50 million, the Lakers' hands will be tied. They'll have to piece together a bench with vet minimum contracts and hope for the best. But if LeBron is serious about chasing one more championship, he might need to make a major sacrifice. What if LeBron takes a pay cut? Not just a small one, but a big one. If LeBron were to sign for something like $20 million instead of $50 million, it would instantly change the math. Suddenly, the Lakers would have room to use their full mid-level exception. They could bring in a quality shooter like Gary Trent Jr. or Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Or they could go big, literally, and use that cap space to sign a veteran rim protector like Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, or even Steven Adams. These aren't superstar names, but they're the kind of functional, high-IQ role players that championship teams are built on. Even better, that extra financial room could allow the Lakers to bring in multiple contributors, 2 or even 3 new rotation players, which would make a massive difference over the course of an 82-game season and into the playoffs. With a deeper roster, they could manage LeBron's minutes better, protect him from overuse, and have more options if injuries hit. But again, it all hinges on one question. Is LeBron willing to sacrifice a final massive payday for one last real shot at a ring? It's the kind of decision that could define this entire offseason and reshape the Lakers' short-term future. As the Lakers enter what promises to be one of their most pivotal offseasons in years, the front office, led by Rob Pelinka, has a lot of difficult decisions to make and only limited assets to work with. Let's start with the trade chips. The Lakers might not have a treasure chest of draft picks like Oklahoma City or San Antonio, but they still have several tradable contracts that could be used to match salary and bring in real help. Rui Hachimura is owed $18 million next season, a sizable but manageable expiring deal. Dorian Finney-Smith has a $15 million player option, which he could decline or use as a path to an extension. Then there's Jared Vanderbilt, who's locked in at over $10 million annually through 2028, and backup-level players like Gabe Vincent and Max Christie on low expiring deals. Altogether, these are valuable trade pieces, especially when combined with whatever draft capital LA has left. While most of their picks are tied up due to the Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic trades, they do still own a swap option in 2026 or 2028 and their own 2031 first-round pick. That 2031 pick, believe it or not, could become crucial. In a league where teams plan a decade ahead, a far-future pick still holds significant trade value. Now let's talk about needs, and there's one glaring one: center. The Lakers tried to make it work without Anthony Davis, and it collapsed. They need to go back to a more traditional lineup that includes size, rim protection, and rebounding. So who's out there? One high-end, dream scenario would be a trade for Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat. He's the perfect fit, a switchable defender, an elite rebounder, and a smart offensive player who doesn't need the ball to be effective next to Luka and LeBron. But Bam is expensive, and unless Miami is ready to blow it up, this deal might be out of reach. Another option. Kristaps Porzingis from Boston. With the Celtics potentially re-evaluating their core depending on playoff results, there's a world where Porzingis could be made available. His shooting, length, and shot blocking would complement Luka perfectly. But again, salary matching and health concerns make this move complicated. More realistic targets include guys like Mark Williams, who the Lakers almost acquired in February, Mitchell Robinson from New York, or Nick Claxton from Brooklyn. These are athletic, cost-controlled bigs who could anchor the defense and run the floor with Luka. A package involving Austin Reeves, Dalton Knecht, and a future first might be enough to pry one of them loose, especially if Reeves is seen as a foundational piece for a rebuilding team. And let's not forget, Reeves might be the most valuable trade asset the Lakers have outside of Luka Doncic himself. He's only 26, under contract for $13 million, and has already proven he can contribute at a high level in the right system. If the Lakers want to make a splash, Reeves could be the key to unlocking a major upgrade. The front office also has to decide whether to roll the dice on young talent. Dalton Knecht, the rookie they tried to include in the failed Mark Williams trade, could be dangled again. He has upside and scoring punch, but the question is whether the Lakers are willing to wait on his development or flip him for more immediate help. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic is eligible for a new contract this summer. A 4-year, $229 million extension that would replace his $27 million player option for 2026. There's no official word yet, but all signs point to him staying long-term in LA, signing him early locks in the future and helps attract free agents who want stability. It also helps erase the sting of the supermax he missed out on when Dallas traded him, costing him potentially over $300 million. Put it all together, and here's what the Lakers front office is staring at: a narrow window, limited draft capital, aging superstars, and a fanbase hungry for another ring. They can't afford to sit still. If LeBron takes a pay cut, if Luka signs the extension, if the right trade opens up for a big man, this team could look dramatically different, and dramatically more dangerous, by the time the 2026 season tips off. But if those pieces don't fall into place, if they run it back with the same thin bench, the same size issues, and no flexibility, then this offseason won't just be interesting, it'll be a missed opportunity.